Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of Canucks Conversation. But it's not like any other episode of Canucks Conversation because for those watching on the YouTube show, we've got a new set. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching us from, we've got a brand new set here on Canucks Conversation. Big shout out, Patrick Johnson of the province. He was the one that came up with the idea that we move to a couch because it's Canucks Conversation and it's more conversational to be sitting on a couch together.
It sort of gives me closer to Penticton vibes, where we were out on the patio. It was more laid back, a little bit more casual, and we were just able to kind of shoot the breeze rather than we're sitting at these professional level studio desks, and it feels like a news show. That's just not our style.
No, that's not us. We're not news desk people. We're couch people. Now I'll tell you this. I'll get right in front of this. People see the pillow on my lap. I'm a big pillow on the lap guy. Like, I grab a pillow. You know who else does that? Is Dollywell. He talks about that a lot. He holds the pillow. Do you hold a pillow when you sit on the couch?
If I'm using my laptop, yeah.
No laptop. You're watching TV. I have a pillow, like grasped. I hold the pillow.
I haven't consciously thought about that.
You should try it. It's
replace it with a teddy bear.
Well, that's the thing. It used to be a teddy bear. Now it's a pillow. It's a good graduation. It's a good thing to graduate to. But yes, we are on the couch. It is still Canucks Conversation, and it is brought to you today by our friends at Greta. Greta is a great spot for all games, home and away. Harman, where's the best place to watch Daniel Sprong go coast to coast and shove it down everybody's throats?
Greta.
That's right. And we'll be there for all the Canucks Army viewing parties throughout the season. Details on that are coming soon. I will tell you that the first one is in October, and I'm very much so looking forward to it. Just minutes from the arena. Come by before and after the game or whatever event you're downtown for with weekly drink specials. Greta Bar YVR is the place to be. 50 West Cordova Street is the address. Let the games begin. Daniel Sprong last night, Harm. That's where we start. The title of today's show is The Daniel Sprong Show. And for good reason. Daniel Sprong puts on an absolute clinic, looking like Connor McDavid. That's a fair comparison, right?
Of course, yeah.
Coast
Actually, more Nate McKinnon since he's a right shot.
And the first two steps, I didn't know he had that acceleration in him. I noticed that about Sprong. Those first two steps, he's got good acceleration. Best shot on the team, best acceleration on the team. Many people are saying this. He goes coast to coast, ties up the game late with the Canucks on power play, and with the goalie pulled, pushes the game to overtime. Let's just start with Sprong's performance last night.
Yeah, he was really impressive even before the goal. Like Drance and I were working on a piece that went out today at The Athletic, looking at which players have been rising, holding steady, falling as far as their stock in preseason so far among the players that are on the bubble, looking to make the team, looking to make the opening night lineup. And we had Daniel Sprong when we were coming up with our list in the second intermission already on that rising list, just because it wasn't just that highlight reel play where, yeah, he slices through Calgary's defense. He was so noticeable and dangerous offensively. It felt like almost every shift. The way that he was able to, as you said, surprised me a little bit with the amount of acceleration that he had through the neutral zone. More dynamic as a puck carrier than I thought, even as a playmaker, right? We know how electric his shot is, but a couple of times he was able to enter the zone, have the heads-up vision to make the cross-seam pass to set up Phil DiGiuseppe, for example, as that second layer joining the rush. He set up Archie Baines for a chance on the right side off the rush. On the power play as well, I thought he was really threatening. He nearly missed on the open net. Nearly scored on the open net. One time bomb from the left circle, just missed the net. Could have been a goal. Yeah. But also his playmaking. Sometimes when I watch shot first snipers on the power play, I'm looking to see, is this guy just going to try to force a shot every time? Mm-hmm. Or if the penalty killers are aggressively ready to front that shooting lane, is that player on the left circle going to be able to adapt and say, all right, if you're taking my shot away, then there's going to be space in, let's say, the bumper, and now I'm going to look for passes. And Sprong also showed that, where a couple times PK started to cheat towards his shooting lane, and he was able to feed a pass in the slot. So it was really impressive. Even had a play in the third period where he intercepted a pass and helped the Canucks break up the Flames' offensive zone possession. So all around, very impressed with him, especially considering he didn't even have a chance to play alongside Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I don't want to say he drove the line last night, but
He
he
did.
was a driver of the
You
line.
can say he drove that line.
Thank you. I thought you'd make fun of me for saying that.
No,
He
no.
drove that line. Like he was legitimately the reason that line was so good last night. And I really, again, I like his play away from the puck too, which again, that's where we know that all of the problems are going to be for Daniel Sprong. That's where they've been in the past. He's out to correct that reputation. He was talking to J-Pat at training camp. We had the story over at Canucks Army, him just talking about how he doesn't think it's a super fair reputation, but that it's his reputation and he needs to get rid of it. Like it's up to him to shed that reputation. I think it's going to be a big season for Sprong. Also, you weren't at. Oh no, you weren't at the game, so you did hear Batch's Sprong with Sprung call.
Yeah, that
he
was
just said it
good.
so seamlessly. Like I couldn't even repeat it, and I knew that I wanted to talk about it. That was just such a good call from Brendan Batchelor. No preseason needed for him or Daniel Sprong. In the chat, quickly, people are making fun of the pillow on my lap. Conversation said Quads wants to have kids. Keep that laptop away from your lap. Yeah, that's right. That's why I got the pillow.
Smart man. I usually would too, but for at least the debut of the set, I didn't want to get made fun of.
Brad in the chat, the pillow looks ridiculous. Get a couch desk. Brad, we have stuff on the way and we're going to get some stuff here to help us out. But today it's a laptop pillow. But, I'm also a big knee. Like, I didn't know our lower bodies would be shown on this new shot. This is our first day doing this. I'm a big, I don't cross my legs. I don't do that. But I do have the ankle on the knee. I'm a big ankle on the knee guy, especially if I don't have a pillow to hold it up. But since I have a pillow, I'll be all right.
Yeah, I don't have the flexibility for that to be comfortable sitting in that position for long.
I could do it for a good amount of time. Hachiroku in the chat. Quad's hiding his guns with his laptop elevated by the pillow. Don't worry. I'll get the desk soon, and they'll be back.
Okay. Right now you're flexing on the side. There you go. Yeah, look at that. That's what the people want.
We know that. I'm gonna sit like this for the rest of the show. Okay. This game that the Canucks won. We obviously want to talk about Daniel Sprong, other standouts. I think we have to kind of follow the timeline of Aatu Räty. I liked his game. Obviously not as good as he was in Seattle. He was phenomenal in that game, but I thought it was a good performance. Like I don't think it did much to hurt his chances of making the team. It didn't, it doesn't solidify him as a roster spot. Like I think a repeat of what he did against Seattle, against Calgary would have been like, okay, this guy obviously needs to make the team. I don't think it hurt his chances. I just also don't think it really elevated his chances.
Yeah, it was sort of like a holding steady type performance for him where, a couple times I liked his positioning. He had a slip pass off an entry that I really liked. He sprung Archdeep Bains for a partial breakaway chance, which I really liked. But yeah, outside of that, he wasn't there wasn't that wow factor that there was in the first game, which is fair because he was playing the second leg of a back-to-back. He's going to need more performances like the one he had against Seattle as the preseason continues to really solidify his chances of making the team. Because again, the one thing to keep in mind is when coaches and GMs are making decisions on who's going to make the team, who's going to get cut, it doesn't just come down to who deserves it most based off on-ice merit. There's a lot that goes into it with the cap, most importantly with waiver status, right? Sometimes a young player will have a great performance at camp, but it's just easier to send that guy down if the race is close because that player doesn't need waivers to get sent down, whereas the other guy might. So Räty, solid second game. He'll need to elevate back to the level that he showed against Seattle to really solidify himself in that race to win the 13th forward job.
Other standouts last night. I mean, Quinn Hughes was better than everybody. I thought Elias Pettersson looked like a player going through the motions in the first period. But I thought he was great. I thought he was great in the third period. Even first, maybe second period, I didn't like what I saw from Elias Pettersson. Again, we talked about how important a big preseason, a big training camp was for Elias Pettersson because he did that the year that he was really good, the year where training camp was in Whistler. And you didn't see it at training camp, and I didn't see it for the first two periods last night, but I definitely saw it in the third period from Pettersson.
I thought I saw it more in training camp than I did in last night's game. I thought he was really, really quiet last night.
Yeah, he was just, like you said, going through the motion, but third period, he stepped up.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Like, by no stretch of the imagination am I reading anything into that. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that he was really quiet.
Yeah.
And I think that probably had an impact on Lekkerimäki's performance too.
What did you think of Lekkerimäki's performance?
Very quiet. I think that line, what stood out to me is because I wanted to track Lekkermacki very closely. What stood out to me with that line was on the forecheck, they struggle to win battles and recover pucks. And even in situations where they did hold possession down low, they weren't able to retain it. It just felt like a struggle all night for them to actually be able to apply pressure on the forecheck. Like you look at early in the game, why Kiefer Sherwood and PDG were creating so much havoc, spent so much time in the offensive zone, had some looks. It's because they were just, it was like those two were dogs on a bone on the forecheck. And I just don't think part of that to me was Lekkermacki. I thought he had a couple of situations where I wanted to see him harder in a battle, provide better support as an F2. I think generally he and that line struggled to win battles when the puck back on the forecheck.
Is it safe to say that's becoming a bit of a trend with Lekkermacki? We've only seen him for 2 games, but like I also saw it in training camp. And you even said it where I was saying like, well, he didn't have opportunities to get into a battle, it felt like. And you made a good point that he has to create those opportunities. Like he has to go in there. And I think it's, again, he was stronger against Seattle. But I think that aspect of his game where it's kind of that hesitancy to just get in there, I've noticed that a bit. I've noticed the old, not to compare to Andrei Kuzmenko, but when Kuzmenko would, and he's not doing the beaver tail or anything like that, but where he would just kind of stop up and try and intercept a pass before actually just getting in there.
Yeah, he also doesn't have the most explosive first 2 steps,
yeah,
which I think makes a difference in just that fraction of a second of a difference where you're either just on time to disrupt the defenseman's breakout pass or the attempt to rim it around the wall versus being there too late. So that I'll say he was a lot better in that area in the scrimmage, like away from the puck on Sunday scrimmage. I was like, okay, he's disruptive, but yeah, that's going to be one of the main question marks with his game is, can he help that line enough in other departments outside of just when the puck is on his stick?
The pillow was too weird. I had to get rid of it. I didn't like the pillow. It was,
I got like bullied out of it.
Well, I not so much because I don't really care that, what people were saying about it, but it was starting to get a little uncomfortable, like holding it up there forever. But I'll happily do the ankle across the knee look and throw those out there. Beyond just those guys that we've spoken about so far, like I'm trying to think of the training camp stories. Did you want to talk about Linus Karlsson? Because I don't.
He didn't really stand out.
Perfect
in the second game.
Who else did you want to talk about?
Kiefer Sherwood was a dog.
Oh yeah. Kiefer Sherwood again. Penalty killing time. Like that's the thing that stands out for me. Didn't get much penalty killing time in Nashville. Now he's got it. Like now he has that opportunity, and he profiles like a guy who should be able to kill penalty. I was surprised to learn that he wasn't like a staple on the PK in Nashville. Again, we've talked about Kiefer Sherwood as being a guy that maybe he can grow and offer more offensively. He can grow and be a PKer for this team.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the coaching staff are always looking for secondary options. I think it's not going to be easy for him to carve out a consistent role just because like we don't even have Joshua in the lineup yet. And he's developed into a really high-end penalty killer. So the Canucks have a lot of winger options for who's going to play shorthanded. But Sherwood, I really believe he's going to become a fan favorite this year.
He has to be. Like
he's just such a buzzsaw. Yes. He's one of those players that I feel like fans can gravitate to guys that every shift you notice them for their all-out effort, for their tenacity, for their pace, for just always getting under the opposition's skin. That's another element. I bet you Sherwood is going to drive other teams nuts the same way that he drove the Canucks nuts in the first round of the playoffs. Plus, he's got enough with his hands and with his elusiveness and his edge work with the puck in the offensive zone that he'll contribute some secondary offense. And I bet you he'll get a couple clutch goals throughout the season.
Better version of Tyler Mott. That's something that popped in my head last night, was like he is primed to be a better version of Tyler Mott. And we obviously know what kind of fan favorite Tyler Mott was in this city. Jiri Patera actually stood out to me a little bit last night. Like I actually was pretty impressed with him. I'll tell people, like I made some jokes on the podcast, but I was making a lot of jokes about Jiri Patera at training camp because I thought he had a few just like warm-up saves that got by him, and I was like, what are we even doing here? So I made a lot of jokes, but
Drancer messaged me, he's like, Quads is in shambles.
Well, Karlsson's all of a sudden playing great. Jiri Patera, no, Patera was good. He's still not going to be the NHL backup. Like that's going to be Shilovs, and it's going to be Lankinen. but Patera looked a lot better than I thought he was going to, just based on, like, again, he wasn't good in the scrimmage, wasn't good in training camp. This was my next chance to see him, and I was impressed with what he did. Obviously, he made that big east-west save, and again, I had talked about it yesterday. The power in those legs is undeniable. Like, he does have a lot of power in his legs. Now it's harnessing that power. What can you become when you have the proper coaching? And I'm very curious to see what comes of Yuri Patera. Another thing that I thought about to myself, I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, but did they get a replacement for Marco Terenius? They did, right?
I
Like,
think
they got an
did.
Abbotsford goaltending coach?
I think they did. My
Jacob, look
memory's not
that
the
up.
best.
Yeah, so this is my new thing, is I'm just going to, Jacob, look that up, because I can see Jacob now. We never were able to see him before, but with our new set, I can see Jacob. So I see him feverishly typing away. He's going to be ready to do Family Feud in a little bit here.
Oh, they did replace him.
Justin Pogge.
Justin Pogge. Former,
Pogge, did you?
It's Pogge.
What did I say?
You
said
said
Pogge.
Okay,
Pogge,
what's
but
wrong with
former
that?
Pogge.
Former World Junior superstar, I think in like 2006, maybe 2005. He was like, had one of the best World Junior runs in net ever, and flamed out with the Leafs.
You got excited about that name? So I was like, oh, he was with the 2019-20 Coquitlam Express. That's how I know him.
He's a killer stash too. I remember
really?
the press release now when they announced.
That's why
the
that
addition.
name came to. Well, yeah, that's why my name. It's Pogge.
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 Like,
Do you ever
Pogge.
listen to me?
Hang on, I'm looking him up. Oh, he does have a good mustache. Great hire. How tall is he?
For somebody that is
He's 6'4", Quads.
undersized.
Oh, okay, I don't know about him.
For somebody that is undersized, Quads, you are really obsessed with people's heights.
I appreciate that you said undersized instead of just short. That's a new way to sell myself. Maybe not. Do you want to get to our poll question, or did you have anything else that you wanted to say before we
Just
get
on the Patera note, the Canucks were really leaky defensively off
Yes.
the rush.
Yeah. I mean, just like against
on
Seattle.
several occasions.
Just like
Again,
against Seattle.
Not worried about it at all, but just an observation that it felt like it was way too easy for Calgary's forwards to get behind Vancouver's defenders.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to our poll question, which is brought to you by Mr. Lube. I don't remember what the poll question is, and I put the laptop on the floor, so I got to look now. Oh, man, I got to squint here. Poll question brought to you by Mr. Lube. Which center will Daniel Sprong play with on opening night? I came up with this one, Harm. JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, or Pia Suter. And then there's the option of Teddy Bluger, Ratu Amon, whoever you think the fourth line center on this team is going to be. Harm, right now, 15.2% say JT Miller, and the overwhelming favorite is Elias Pettersson with 53.6%. 23.2% say Suter, and just 8% say Bluger, Ratu, or Amon. I feel like a lot of this just has to do with, we knew it was going to be a long shot for Lekkerimäki to make the team. And we always said that he'd have to blow down the door and make it an undeniable, you have to have this guy on the roster decision. And it's been 2 games and he just hasn't done that yet. And it's not a knock on him. It's just that he's a young kid. He's going to need some time in Abbotsford, which is fine. They have the luxury of doing that. This isn't a situation where, okay, it's either Louis Eriksson, Jake Virtanen, or Niels Höglander. Well, obviously Höglander is going to be the best of those 3. It's not that kind of situation for Lekkerimäki. If Lekkerimäki was against Louis Eriksson or Jake Virtanen, then we'd be saying, oh my gosh, he's obviously the best of those 3. Get him in the NHL. It's a good thing that he's going to spend some time in the AHL.
Yeah, and with Sprong, I really am excited to see him with Pettersson. I think he deserves that opportunity next game. I'm also just so excited to see what a Pettersson line can look like now that Pettersson has a high-end finisher on his right? I'm just so sick and tired of last year thinking back to all the scoring chances that Pettersson would set up for like Ilya Mikheyev or even a Sam Lafferty. Sam Lafferty spent a lot of time on that line too. So I'm especially off the rush too, right? That's another thing to keep in mind is we've seen how dangerous Sprong can be off the rush. Well, Pettersson is their most dynamic and dangerous centerman creating offense off the rush because JT Miller is lethal off the rush too. But if you go back and look at the tape of most of his points 5-on-5, they're usually set up off the forecheck, controlling play down low, off the cycle. They're one of the best first lines in the NHL when it comes to creating offense that way. It's not so much quick strike counterattack the way that Pettersson can manufacture scoring chances.
All right, that was our poll question. It was brought to you by Mr. Lube. Mr. Lube and Tires, change your oil, change your wipers event is on now. Visit MrLube.com to download your coupon for a free pair of Goodyear hybrid wiper blades with any oil change for a limited time at Mr. Lube. Find them at one of their 18 locations in the lower mainland. Someone in the chat, we're going to get to anyone else here shortly. Someone in the chat said, at this rate, Quads is going to be standing in 10 minutes. It's true. I can't really get comfortable. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good.
You're a lot more relaxed than I am. I'm a lot more high strung. I'm not comfortable yet. I need a table, you know?
Yeah, we do need a table.
Yes, they've been ordered, I believe, on Amazon already. So hopefully by the next time we're in here, you guys have your tables.
You have Prime? Do we got 2-day shipping?
You'll need that subscription to watch 4 Canucks games this year.
Oh,
well, also
good point.
the
Yeah.
Docuseries.
Yes,
I don't know if
I'm
you saw
very
the
curious
trailer.
about this. Yes, I did. Did I tell you I might be in that?
Really? No.
Yeah, I might be in that.
No, but like being interviewed or just in the background?
No, in the background.
Okay, yeah.
What the hell are they going to talk to me about?
Quinn Hughes, I don't know.
They handpick me of all people?
True.
Anyways.
Unlikely.
No. I was in the background because I was it's probably B-roll that an editor cut somewhere. But anyways, they were taking B-roll in the Canucks locker room and I was sitting down beside PD. It was one of our stick flex conversations. So those take about 20 minutes. But we were sitting there and just kind of chatting. Like, I don't even think I was recording. We were just talking. And then I noticed that the camera crew was like filming us. So I don't know. I could see a narrator being like, a handsome reporter interviews Elias Pettersson. And then there was this guy interviewing him as well. No. I don't know.
Not confirmed, but I heard from a secondhand source that Pettersson might be making a bit of a cameo in the Hughes episode.
Okay, I heard that too, which is why I'm hopeful that I'm in it. Like, because people were saying to me, like, well, why would they need B-roll of Pettersson sitting down and talking to a reporter, which I might point out doesn't happen often, right? Like, you don't often sit in a stall, but I don't know who was there. I think it was Hoglander, and he was done, and Pettersson's like, yeah, just sit down. And I sat down. I take the opportunity to sit anytime I can. So maybe that's a good shot.
And then you pull up your pillow.
Pull up my pillow. I was like, Petey, you got any pillows in here? You guys must have pillows somewhere.
Flex. Why don't you just practice flexing it on this pillow?
Yeah.
That'll be the best test.
Okay. Should we get to Family Feud, or did you want to talk about that docuseries at all? Because honestly, I'm only gonna watch the Hughes episode. Like, I don't know about you.
What?
You're gonna watch the whole series?
Yeah.
Why? For what?
Did you not see the trailer?
Oh, like you're gonna be entertained by it?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'll let you know. You tell me how.
I'm actually cautiously optimistic that this might be legitimately interesting, and actually might showcase real personality. I mean, did you see that McDavid clip?
No, I did. The one of him yelling at the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that not entertaining?
Not really. I gotta be honest. Like, I'm not trying to crap on it, but like, I'm going to watch the Hughes one because
But also they're apparently going to include.
Oh,
remember
when he yelled at Mitch
Nylander?
Marner?
Well, yeah, that too. But also,
that's a draw for me.
but also, remember how he missed the start of that playoff series?
Yes.
So the cameras followed him watching the games during the playoffs, but not. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So even getting that lens of what's it like for an injured star player to watch the playoffs and go through the highs and lows. Dude, I'm watching the whole thing.
Okay, you watch it and let me know how it is. I just got Netflix again yesterday. I haven't had Netflix for like a year and a half. Okay, but I got it for the purpose of watching this Mr. McMahon documentary. Have you seen clips of this? It's all over my Twitter right now, and I'm not a huge wrestling fan, but I watched it growing up, all that sort of stuff. And the reason I wanted to watch it, and knowing Vince McMahon, this is just a marketing ploy, but all of the stuff with him, like, abusing employees, there's lawsuits against him. All of it came out after they recorded this documentary. So they still put it out. And I think he posted some tweet where he was like, I offered to buy it back from Netflix. Like, I don't want people watching it type thing or something like that, which made me be like, all right, what's on there? And now I'm watching it. And like I said, knowing him, it's probably, intentional, but he put out a whole statement about like, they used editing tricks. This isn't what I signed up for type thing. And I don't know, like I said, probably a marketing ploy. It worked on me, but also I think there is some pretty valuable information and just interesting stuff in that doc. And I'm 2 episodes in right now, but I've never been. Look, this is my rule. This is my rule for TV. If it's over 20 minutes, I'm probably not going to watch it. Like, I'll watch sitcoms. I don't watch
what kind of attention span do you have? Do you have the
you have done a show with me for over a year now. You know exactly what my attention span is. I'm not a 46-minute show guy. I made the exception for Sopranos, but even that, after a while, I'm just
20 minutes. What are you?
Well, 24 minutes, whatever shows are. I can watch those shows. I don't do the Like I can't sit down. Like I like Seinfeld. It's Always Sunny in
What
Philadelphia.
about The Last Dance? You didn't watch The Last Dance?
Okay, see, so this is what I'm saying. Great, like truly great. Across the board, everybody can agree this is phenomenal television. I can make an exception for that. Like I said,
Okay.
Sopranos, like you said, The Last Dance, like of course, glued to the TV.
All right.
But these people be like, yeah, you gotta watch Grey's Anatomy. Is Grey's Anatomy 46 minutes? Does anybody actually know?
Yeah, and it's like 29
Thank
seasons
you.
or whatever.
So Grey's Anatomy, just the first thing that came in mind. Oh yeah, you gotta watch this thing. It has 20 episodes a season, and it's 48 minutes. Who's got time for that?
I will say it's annoying trying to schedule in like a 48-minute TV episode.
I don't have time for that. Yeah. Ashton Cole Ryder in the Facebook chat. If it's not Blues Clues, Quads ain't watching. That's such a good comment.
That or Clifford the Red Dog, right, buddy?
Did you see the live action Clifford movie?
No.
Didn't they get like Mark Wahlberg in that? Have you not seen this?
I feel like you might be the only person.
Okay, it's not Mark
of
Wahlberg.
this.
You not seen this? They made a live action. Like, look, I'm not joking.
Oh, okay. I think I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was
Maybe I
Mark
saw it
Wahlberg.
before.
It's not Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg cost a little more than the Clifford budget had. But I don't know. What did it get? 58% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's not bad. Above replacement
Yeah, that's
level.
definitely more your speed.
Gotta see if it's on Netflix now that I got Netflix back. Yeah, see, there's another one. Sam Wilson, Game of Thrones. No, I watched the first season of Game of Thrones and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And it was like season 1 of Game of Thrones. No spoilers. It ends on a pretty big cliffhanger, and I was just like, I don't really care. But also, I think that was because I started watching the first season when everybody was complaining about the ending, right? And I was like, I'm not gonna bother if it just is gonna end poorly. Like, you ever watch the show Dexter?
Nope.
Awful ending. And apparently they're rebooting it. But like How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
Awful ending. I wouldn't watch that again. And I watched all of that show, as it was on. Curtis Klein makes a good point. He said no hockey talk today. We have gone a little off the rails.
I was gonna say
Let's get some questions.
There's been a few people in the chat
saying, are you guys gonna talk about hockey?
Yeah.
Alec Taylor, is Quads even a hockey fan?
Seriously,
I will watch.
More excited to watch Clifford the Big Red Dog than the NHL Docuseries.
Oh no, I will watch it. Did you ever watch like Quarterback?
Stop.
Well, I'm just saying,
stop.
it's similar.
Just
It's
stop.
similar. I am hopeful though. About the NHL one. It drops October 4th, right? And they're dropping all the episodes at once? Or is it a limited release?
I think so, but I don't know for sure.
I got offered to watch it early.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They reached out.
Declined.
No, I accepted.
Sorry, I'm too busy watching Blues Clues.
Yeah. Do you guys got any in the Blues Clues department? Okay. Let's get to anyone else, which is brought to you by our friends over at the Vancouver Canadians. The Seas thank fans for another great season at the Nat this summer. If you're looking to guarantee your seat for all the action in 2025, please visit CanadiansBaseball.com or call 604-872-5232. Some Canucks news to talk about. Jet Wu, Guillaume Brisebois, 2 defensemen hit waivers today. Patrick Allvin made the announcement late Thursday morning. No real surprise. I would have liked to see Guillaume Brisebois get into a game. Like, this is a guy that's been with the organization forever, really battled back. And for those that don't know, obviously he suffered the concussion in the preseason of last season when Brandon Tanev hit him up high, gave him a head injury. He was battling all season to get back from that. I think he played in 7 games last year in the AHL. So it's been a battle for Guillaume Brisebois just to get healthy. I would have liked to see him get a game. He was in Group C at training camp as well, which this management regime didn't draft him. They don't owe him anything. I'm rooting for Guillaume Brisebois, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because if you remember at the end of, was it the 2022-23 season when I believe Taka took over, OEL went down with injury. The Canucks were icing half the Abbotsford blue line. And that's when Wolanin looked pretty good. That's when Brisebois looked pretty decent at times. That's when Juleson made his first impression. If Brisebois had been able to maintain that level, we'd absolutely be talking about him as next man up if there's an injury on that left side. But for whatever reason, I shouldn't say for whatever reason, it is because of the injury.
Yeah.
That seems to have derailed his path to carving out that role as the fourth LD on the depth chart.
And I'm curious about that spot. Like I'm just trying to think about who they have on the depth chart. And not only that, but for Guillaume Brisebois, And look, people said stop talking about non-hockey stuff. Now we're talking about the Abbotsford Canucks left-handed defense depth chart, because I was looking at it today. You're going to have Willan in there. Like, Willan's not making this roster, right? You would want to have Elias Pettersson there.
Yep.
Like, you want him playing games. Akita Hirose is also there. You want him playing games. Jet Wu has played the left side. Is he going to do it this year? Probably not. Like, they're probably going to put him back to the right side. But like, Elias Pettersson, to me, that's the highest priority of who should be playing minutes in Abbotsford. When he came here last year, again, totally different circumstances when you come to a team late and you've spent your year in Sweden. But like, he didn't get into every game when he came to Abbotsford. I want him playing every game this year in Abbotsford.
Also, Kirill Kudryavtsev.
There you go. Exactly. It's a crowded blue line.
I'm intrigued to see, because he looks so impressive whenever he played on the right side in Young Stars at times and during training camp, if they'll consider using him on the right side, given the abundance of lefties that they have down there.
Yes. So I'm trying to map it out. Can you get the lines, Jacob? Jeff tweeted them out. It was like an optional skate at UBC today. But one thing that Jeff did note was that Kudryavtsev was with Tyler Myers. Is that a look that we get? Because again, this is a guy that's going to play here in North America, in the AHL or the NHL. The thing I've started to wonder, Harm, is are they going to start to use the ECHL? Don't forget that they renewed that partnership with the Kalamazoo Wings. Again, folks, you don't want us talking Clifford the Big Red Dog. Let's talk about the Kalamazoo Wings. In the ECHL, are they going to start actually using that partnership? Are they going to use it for a guy like Kudryavtsev, where they say, hey, you know what? Go be the guy in Kalamazoo. Does anybody want to be the guy in Kalamazoo?
I don't think so.
Are you going to lose out on free agents and young prospects?
But I also think
Kalamazoo.
I also think he's looked good enough in camp and scrimmage. He didn't look out of place in a pro environment. So to me, no, I don't think he needs to go down to the ECHL. Now, because of the numbers game, I don't know what the organization feels or believes.
Yes.
But I think he absolutely should be part of Abbotsford's top 6 or 7 defensemen.
What's the rules on sending a guy down to the East Coast League? Like Guillaume Brisebois, if I'm not mistaken, can just straight up decline. Like, and again, I use him as an example with a crowded blue line. Like, Brisebois can just decline to go to Kalamazoo, right?
Well, and Kudryavtsev is a 20-year-old who played in the OHL last year. I don't even think they're allowed in the ECHL until they're 21. They're allowed in the AHL.
Okay.
He might not even be allowed to go to Kalamazoo. I'll have to double check that. I can also pull up the lines from Jeff for you here in 1 second.
Dave Hall in the chat coming in with the save. He said, I think so, Quads. I can't remember what he said that about. Dave, did you say about using, I don't know why I yelled
about
like he's here, but
Brisebois declining.
Yeah, about Brisebois declining. I think that's what he's saying.
I don't think they'd send him to the ECHL.
So is he just going to be a healthy scratch in Abbotsford?
I don't know. All I know is they've got a lot of bodies there.
They do have a lot of bodies, and that's what we're trying to get at. But the biggest thing for Brisebois is that he's going to be healthy, is what you want. You want no post-concussion symptoms. You want him to just be able to play. Okay, here's the observations from our man, Jeff Patterson. Heinen, Miller, Besser back together. We talked about that in camp as being one of the only lines that we thought could stick. Miller hasn't played in a preseason game yet, so that line got split up. I want to see that line cook. Like, I really liked what I saw from Danton Heinen against Seattle. I was so wrong about Danton Heinen. Like, that was one of the earliest, I'm going to make a claim, I'm going to have a take, and it was like, never mind. I was wrong. You know what it is? No offense to Danton Heinen. He kind of looks boring.
I agree with that.
Yeah, he does look a little boring, right? Like,
even though he plays, he's pretty vanilla player.
Yeah,
effective,
and he looks vanilla too. Like, he looks vanilla.
Nice guy to talk to, though.
I'm sure he is.
I can say right now, 20-year-olds who played in the CHL definitely can go to the ECHL because Ty Young is likely going to do that, or he'll get traded in the WHL. But
yes,
so 20-year-olds who played in Major Junior can go to the ECHL. So Kudryavtsev, maybe he's a top pair guy in Kalamazoo.
I'd be stunned if either of these players are claimed on waivers. Let's talk about Jet Wu. Jet Wu is the guy claimed. Just turned 24. He's entering his age 24 season, July birthday. Drafted by the Canucks 37th overall. Had his best season last year. They rewarded him with a contract. Like, it was actually nearing a point where we were just like, okay, well, they're just going to get rid of Jet Wu. Like, they don't need Jet Wu. But he took a step last year. Now it's go take a step this year. Like, that's what they're expecting from him this year.
Yeah, there definitely was a time, I remember, when this management group believed that Wu could develop into a depth defense option and play NHL games. So that explains why they had that belief even before he had that strong season last year. So they've had that level of conviction. That's why they, of course, extended him. But the right side is just kind of crowded, and he's going to going to need to really stand out to get ahead of guys. I don't even think you can realistically get ahead of guys like Juleson and Friedman. It's going to take a lot of injuries for him to factor into the equation for an NHL call-up.
Yeah, and again, like, not to be,
nobody's going to claim him.
Nobody's going to claim Jet Wu. Nobody's going to claim Jet Wu. Okay, here we go. These are guys that we think we might be headed to the ECHL. This is from our guy, Dave Hall. Thankfully, he's in the chat here. He said Ty Mueller, Kudraytsev. Didn't think that was happening. Ty Young and Josh Bloom are all potential guys to go to Kalamazoo in his eyes. They're going to use that partnership. Dave knows better than me, so I don't know why I'm sitting here and saying, "Oh, I don't know about Kudraytsev," but like I would agree with you that just how Talkett spoke about him, it'd be hard to see him go to the ECHL. Then again, maybe it does just come down to, hey, we've got too many bodies in Abbotsford. We want you to go get a ton of minutes. You're going to go do that in Kalamazoo. I learned this. I don't know if you knew this. The Kalamazoo coach, don't know what his name is. He was in Penticton.
Oh, really?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
I didn't know Kalamazoo staff came out.
There were multiple members of the Kalamazoo staff. I think some of their training staff came up as well. Like there was quite a few of them there for young stars, and then some probably stuck around for training camp as well.
Yeah. So I think the Canucks might start to actually use that relationship. It's not something we've seen so much in the past. That was my thing for anyone else, was those two guys are on waivers. We will find out tomorrow if they were claimed. Probably not going to be claimed. And then the Canucks, you'd assume, would make cuts to their roster after tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
Like it feels like these are the two that they've made today, and then they'll make more afterwards. Vilmer Ulrich is still with the team.
Yeah, I don't think for much longer.
You don't think he's getting into a game again?
I don't know. I can't predict that. I'd be surprised if he gets.
I'd be surprised too, because it's a junior guy, and again, he's the only junior guy. He should hang his hat on that. He's the only junior guy that got a shot.
Yeah.
So,
another observation from J-Pat, DeBrusk, EP40, and Sherwood. So Sherwood getting that shot, which is interesting. I would have liked to see Sprong there, but Sherwood was also so effective as a play driver last night that I can understand why they'd want to reward him. And also what I was mentioning with that line struggling, I thought, to get in on the forecheck, to force turnovers, to just have heavy shifts down low in the offensive zone. I wonder if they looked at that and went, rather than adding more of a rush attacker, let's just get PD's line working, get their work boots going, inject some speed, inject some pace. That's why Lafferty got looks on Pettersson's line despite being offensively limited, is because quite often Talkett looked at that Pettersson line and went, they don't have enough jump on the forecheck. Yeah. That's why I'm just going to give them a fast guy who can hopefully help retrieve pucks.
Create some havoc. I'm excited to get a look at that if it's what we see. I would assume that they're going to kind of continue with the playing groups of what we've seen so far. Like, I think JT Miller gets into his first game tomorrow. He's with Brock Besser. He's with Denton Heinen. I'd assume that's what we're going to see tomorrow. And then you'd see DeBrusk, Pettersson. You'd see those guys on the Saturday game. And then the preseason schedule kind of cools down a bit. And then I would think that Monday game against Edmonton, that would be the first game that I think you see all of those guys together.
Yeah, something like that would definitely make sense to me.
Okay. Did you have anything else that you wanted to get to before we get to Family Feud? It can wait if you want to go after Family Feud, because there's anyone else and we do it whenever we want.
Let's just do Family Feud.
Let's do it. Jacob, take it away.
I'm your man, Jacob Lazar, and we're back for another edition of Canucks Conversation, Family Feud. And it's the first one in the new set, which I think is going to be fun. By the time we get everything sorted, we'll have some ISO cams. We can actually really play it up, do a good job here. I mean, Quads, you're on the couch. You could just get up and walk out of the studio, but no, he's going to plug into his music, I guess.
Turning on some Blues Clues.
Yeah.
I heard that.
For the big red dog. All right. Harm, you guys are up 1-0. Had the big win last week. I don't know. I think you guys could go to 2-0. There's some important answers you're going to have to get out of this.
All right.
But I think I like your chances.
Let's do it.
All right. So to remind you of the rules.
Can you turn the dial up on your speaker just a little bit?
I sure can. There we go.
Perfect.
You should be able to hear me a little better now. All right. Remind you of the rules. You'll have 25 seconds on the clock. And the time will begin when I finish reading the first question.
Let's do it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in Elias Pettersson reaching 100 points this season?
8.
Who is the best Swedish player in NHL history?
Peter Forsberg.
Name a hockey stick brand.
CCM.
Name a retired Canucks defenseman.
Alex Edler.
Name something you can't forget to bring when you go to a Canucks game.
Jersey.
Nailed it in 15 seconds, Harm. Great work.
All right. I think that went pretty well.
I agree. You can wait quads up. I'll get your points tallied up here.
I think it went well. You better not fumble the squads.
Hard questions?
No. I think they were pretty.
We're 1-0 on the year, right?
We should go 2-0.
Okay.
Yep. So quads, Harman got you 153 points.
Okay, attaboy. I'll take it home. I'll bring it home.
Can you close it out? And yeah, interesting. So quads, don't look at the chat because they're talking about it. There is a technicality in there that I also agree with, but we're going with what people had to say. So that's fine. We'll discuss that after. All right, quads. Remind you of the rules here. You will have 30 seconds on the clock. Your time will begin when I finish reading the first question. You actually, now that I think about it, should be able to hear the buzzer if you give one of Harman's answers.
Yep.
Perfect. There we go. You can hear the buzzer. I know that's important to you. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
All right, quads. Here we go. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in Elias Pettersson reaching 100 points again this season?
9.
Who is the best Swedish player in NHL history?
Matt Sundin.
Name a hockey stick brand.
CCM.
Try again.
Sherwood.
Name a retired Canucks defenseman.
Kevin Bieksa.
Name something you can't forget to bring when you go to a Canucks game.
Jersey.
Try again.
ID.
I'll accept that.
You're making me nervous, Quads. What did you do?
I don't think it's that wrong.
Okay.
Sundin is the best Swedish.
Yeah, that's a bad
Missed-
answer. I can tell you
Lidstrom.
right now.
First one that came to
First
mind.
one.
First one that came to mind.
I can already
Wait,
tell
isn't
you.
it Canuck? It was
No.
Canuck.
No, it was
Just the best Swedish player in NHL history.
Oh,
Also, if you were looking at Swedish Canucks, why is Sundin ahead
I
of
don't know because he.
Daniel
on.
Sprong,
Okay,
Henrik
it was a
Sedin,
bad
Naslund?
answer.
There were only two right answers there. It was either Forsberg. I said Forsberg or
Damn it,
Lidstrom.
I should have said Forsberg.
Well, I mean, I said Forsberg. You
And
needed
then I
Lidstrom.
came up with Sundin. He's pretty good.
No, he's not. He's not going to get many votes. I'm telling you right now.
All right.
Point
Well,
per game
the
player.
good news is you did win.
Attaboy,
Okay,
Arm.
let's go.
The bad news is Quads
It
did
was
not perform
202.
well. No, you guys got to 228.
Okay.
But I'll break this down for you.
I
So
pulled my weight.
on a scale of 1 to 10, Harman, you said 8. Quads, you said 9. That was the number 1 and 2 answer. 9 with 32
Nice.
points.
Attaboy.
8 with 24. Best
pulled your
Swedish player of all time, Forsberg, number 2 answer with 32. Lidstrom had 33. So very clear 1 and 2. Matt Sundin had 1 singular vote.
Yes,
Uh,
It was you.
that was me.
the Sedins, some people said Daniel, some said Henrik, some said both. I combined them with 10. That was the number 3 answer. And Borje Salming was the number 4 answer. We talked about shows and stuff. The one on Crave, the Borje Salming show, very good actually.
I heard that was really good.
If you want to watch. Name a hockey stick brand. CCM was the number 1 answer. Bauer was the number 2. Sherwood slotting in at number 4.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, that's the classic Sherwood. And then Easton was the number 3 answer. That was my answer. I loved me the Easton sticks back.
I
in the
never
day.
had an Easton stick growing up.
Name a retired Canucks defenseman. So Alex Edler was the second answer. He isn't actually retired yet.
He's unofficially retired.
Yes.
Vetoed.
So that's why I accepted it for your answer. 20,
Oh, never mind. Not vetoed. Keep it. Keep it.
20 people responded with that. Bieksa was actually the number 1 answer. Quads.
Nice.
so
Oh,
we were able to
you
pull
pulled
that
your
one
weight.
out.
You pulled your
That's
weight.
right.
Some other honorable mentions: Oland, Salo, Jyrki Lume, Ed Jovanovski. You know, the classic names. Finally, name something you can't forget to bring when you go to a Canucks game. Jersey/shirt. Harm. That was the number 1 answer with 45. ID. I included that as wallet, which 8 people said. So Quads with a couple single
What
digits
else
and a
did
12.
people-
Sounds like 92 people aren't getting into the building or buying a beverage there.
Well, ticket was on there. Phone, which I mean, your ticket is on your phone now,
Catches
so
the
it's
phone.
kind of so. Some people said hat, and some people specified hat specifically for throwing on the ice for a hat trick, which I found interesting. And one person responded with road pops, which to
Good
each their own.
answer. Good answer. Okay, so we did it.
You guys did it, which means that when we take a look at your scoreboard here on the season,
That's right.
you guys are 2-0.
Damn right, Harm.
Let's do it.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Next survey is going to be out soon. I don't know
tomorrow. It'll be in the show description tomorrow.
Perfect. Show description tomorrow. We'll play next Thursday. I had another thing on anyone else. Excuse me, as we talk about hockey a little bit more. Rasmus Dahlin, named captain of the Buffalo Sabres today.
Yeah, not too surprising, although there was some push for Alex Tuch just because he's embraced that market so well since he got traded there as part of the Jack Eichel trade. But Dahlin is the face of that franchise. I'm looking for him to take the Sabres want him to take that next step the way Quinn Hughes did, where Dahlin is a consensus top 10, top 15 defenseman.
Yeah.
But can he start entering the Norris Trophy conversation? That's going to be the challenge for him this coming year, in addition to obviously handling the captaincy now.
Final thing for me, Matt Larkin over at Daily Faceoff, our pal. He's actually going to be on the show tomorrow. He ranked, and we're going to ask him about this, he ranked all 32 NHL goalie tandems for the season, and he said that the Canucks are easily the toughest team to rank. Had them at number 15. So I think they would have been higher. Like, I think they would have been higher if there was a little more certainty with Thatcher Demko's injury, but I think 15, like middle of the pack goaltending tandem, I might have them a little bit higher, but I think it's pretty fair. There's some good goaltending tandems around the league these days.
Yeah, it's just tough to rank them because of all the uncertainty around Demko, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you knew Demko was going to be healthy, plus with how well Shilov's looked in the playoffs, looking strong in preseason so far, they would obviously rocket up the rankings there, but middle of the pack is fine considering we don't know what is going on with
I'll tell you
Demko.
one that I think Matt has too high is Nashville. He has UC Saros and Scott Wedgwood at number 3. I think that's too high.
Yeah, probably a tad too high.
Like, I would put Winnipeg ahead of them. I would probably put New Jersey with Markstrom and Allen ahead of them. I know Swayman is still unsigned in Boston. That's a hell of a situation that we haven't really talked about, but maybe we'll get to it tomorrow. Did you have any closing thoughts before the Bet365 bet of the day?
Nope.
Okay. So the news of the day, the Mariners were eliminated from playoff contention.
Wow, we're all shocked, Quads.
Didn't happen.
Nobody could have seen this coming.
I feel bad for whoever took your Mariners World Series bet from each day up in Penticton.
Yeah. So that wasn't good. But I'm right back on the wagon with the San Diego Padres. That's why I'm wearing the hat today. They made the playoffs, so I'm taking the San Diego Padres to win tonight against the LA Dodgers at -110 odds. You can go get that over at Bet365, a proud partner of Canucks Conversation. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets, whatever the sport, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Be sure to use code VANBONUS when you sign up for an account. This was fun. This was a fun episode.
Yeah.
Like, the couch is going to be a good thing for us. I'm really excited for it.
There's some kinks to work out, but absolutely, I'm loving how things are trending towards for this year. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun year. Going to be a fun year, boys. It's going to be a fun year. But we'll wrap it up there. For my co-host Harman Dial and our technical producer Jacob Lazar, my name is David Quadrelli. Thank you so much for listening to the episode of the Canucks Conversation. Canucks Conversation is live Monday through Friday, every weekday at 2 p.m. over on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and interact in the YouTube live chat every day with us, folks.